Today, we're going to talk about something that might just flip the way you look at, well, pretty much every problem you face. The big idea, the real fight, the most important one, isn't happening out there in the world. It's happening right inside your own head. So, let me just ask you a question to get started. Think about the last thing that really truly got under your skin. That huge obstacle that was just driving you crazy. Now, what if the source of all that frustration wasn't what it seemed to be at all?
I mean, it's our default setting, right? This project is late because my colleague is impossible. I missed out on that thing because of my circumstances. Or, it was just plain old bad luck. We spend so much time and energy pointing the finger outwards.
But here's the thing. What if all that energy is aimed at the completely wrong target? What if we're fighting a battle in the wrong direction? That's the question we're really going to dig into. And this brings us right to our first big idea, this whole experience of fighting the wrong enemy. We are so convinced the battle is with the world, but we're about to see why that might just be a massive strategic mistake. Our problems, they feel so real, don't they? So external, so solid. But it turns out, if you look back, history has left us some clues. Two incredibly different minds from completely different eras actually stumbled upon the exact same hidden truth about all this. So, let's take a look at these clues from the past. They come from two thinkers who couldn't be more different, but as you're about to see, they both point us to the exact same place. Okay, so check this out. It's fascinating. On one side, you have an ancient Roman emperor who realized our suffering doesn't come from things, but from our judgment of them. On the other side, you have a modern psychologist who found that whatever we refuse to face in ourselves is exactly what ends up controlling us. They're basically two sides of the very same coin. Let's just focus on the emperor's insight for a second. An event happens, someone criticizes you, you have a setback. That event is actually neutral. It's just a fact. The pain, the anger, all the suffering, that comes from the story, the judgment that we instantly tack onto that fact. And then the psychologist adds this other crucial layer. He discovered that when we try to push away the parts of ourselves we don't like, our insecurity, our envy, our fears, they don't actually go anywhere. They go into the shadows of our mind and start pulling the strings from back there. So you see what's happening? Both of these thinkers were pointing to the same place. The real action isn't out there in the world. It's all happening inside our own minds. And that leads us right to this central idea, the battlefield within. So let's just define it clearly. The internal battlefield is this. Forget fighting with your boss or getting mad at traffic. The real struggle, and really the only one you can truly win, is the one against your own automatic reactions, your snap judgments, and all those feelings you'd rather just pretend aren't there. And here's how this plays out in day-to-day life. The external world basically just becomes a giant mirror. That intense flash of anger you feel when someone questions you, it might just be mirroring your own deep insecurity. That harsh judgment you pass on someone else, well, that could be revealing a part of yourself that you just refuse to look at. Okay, so this is a powerful concept for sure, but what do we actually do with it? How do you even begin to fight on this new battlefield? Well, that's where we get practical. Let's talk about your new inner toolkit. This is such a simple practice, but it can literally change your life. First, just pause. Seriously. Before you fire off that angry email or that snappy comeback, just create a tiny moment of space. Second, notice. What was the immediate story that your brain just told you, and what feeling came right along with it? And finally, question it. Is that first story, is it really the only possible truth? Or could there be another way to see it? All right, this next tool is a pretty radical reframe. We're all taught to think of emotions like anger or fear as bad things. But what if they're not enemies we need to defeat? What if they're just signals, kind of like a warning light on your car's dashboard, and they're carrying really important information? Let's look at this quick guide here. If you feel that flash of anger, it might just be a signal that a personal boundary of yours has been crossed. That little pang of envy, that could be your own mind pointing you directly at a desire you haven't even admitted to yourself yet. And fear? Well, fear is almost always a compass, pointing you exactly where you need to go to grow. And this is where the payoff is. When you can start to observe these signals, these emotions, as just pure data without judging yourself for having them, something incredible happens. They lose their hidden power over you. You see them, you understand the message they're carrying, and then you actually get to choose how you want to respond. So, if we're fighting a totally different battle with a totally different set of tools, then what does winning even look like? And that brings us to our final section, the real victory.
For so long, we've thought the goal was to master the world around us, right? To control all the outcomes, to bend things to our will. But that is an exhausting and, frankly, impossible job. The new goal is so much more powerful, and it's actually achievable to master the relationship you have with your own mind.
So, what does this all really mean? First, life is always going to be chaotic on the outside, but that external chaos doesn't have to become internal turmoil. Second, peace isn't about having no problems. It's about understanding the inner forces that shape how you deal with them. And finally, real wisdom, it's just about having clarity when life is anything but clear.
This isn't about reaching some perfect final destination. It's a daily practice. It's about pausing, noticing, and questioning, day in and day out. So the only real question left is this one. The internal battle is fought every single day. How are you going to choose to show up to yours?